Picture the Olympic Village from Athens. Or maybe the World Cup stadiums in Brazil. You have billions of dollars spent, years of frantic construction, and then a decade later, you have weeds growing through the cracked concrete.
Yeah, it is the classic white elephant problem.
Right. Mega events are just notorious for leaving behind massive, expensive ghost towns.
Historically, cities are so focused on the 6 weeks of the event itself. They don't seriously figure out what to do with a 60,000-seat stadium until the day after the closing ceremony.
And by then, the political will is completely gone.
Exactly. The political will is gone, and the maintenance costs are just astronomical.
But if you look at the blueprints for the site of the 2020 World Expo in Dubai, they aren't abandoning anything.
Not at all.
Instead of walking away, they're keeping roughly 80% of the event's infrastructure. And they aren't just letting it sit there as a museum, they are aggressively transforming it into a permanent 15-minute microclimate-controlled city of the future.
They essentially reversed the timeline. Dubai designed the entire Expo site with the year 2040 in mind from the moment they laid the very first brick.
So the Expo itself was just phase one.
Exactly, just a stepping stone.
Well, welcome to the deep dive. We've got a really fascinating stack of blueprints, government master plans, and business district brochures spread out on the table today. And our mission is to unpack exactly what they mean for you.
Yeah, whether you are interested in urban design or global economics, or honestly just curious about how humanity might build cities in the future, this is a masterclass.
We are looking at the massive evolution of Expo City Dubai. It is an unprecedented leap from a temporary global exhibition to a permanent 3.5 square kilometer economic and residential powerhouse.
And we really need to emphasize the stakes here early on.
Okay, set the scene for us.
This project isn't happening in a vacuum. It is deeply embedded in two overarching frameworks that are driving pretty much everything in the emirate right now.
Right, the master plans.
Yes. The Dubai 2040 Urban Master Plan and the D33 Economic Agenda. Those are the ticking clocks here.
Every architectural decision we're going to talk about today is tied to those.
Right. Every park, every tax incentive, it's all engineered to hit specific, massive growth targets mandated by those two plans.
Let's start with the physical foundation, because to understand where Expo City is going, you really have to understand what it's built on top of.
The recycling aspect.
Yeah, we mentioned that 80% retention rate of the Expo 2020 infrastructure earlier, and honestly, that sounds like a typo the first time you read it in the sources.
It really does.
How do you keep 80% of World Fair?
Well, you do it by fundamentally changing the definition of a pavilion.
How so?
During the Expo, you had these massive, awe-inspiring structures like Terra, the Sustainability Pavilion, and Alif, the Mobility Pavilion.
Right, and the Connect Conference Center.
Exactly, and the Al Wasl Plaza with that colossal projection dome. The traditional move for a host city would be to just tear all those down after the crowds leave.
Because they're just temporary showpieces.
Right, normally. But here, the structural engineering was permanent from the start. Today, they are seamlessly transitioning into their new roles.
So they aren't empty.
No, not at all. Terra is now an interactive science center, and it acts as an anchor for the downtown core. The commercial buildings that temporarily house the country pavilions, those are now Class A office spaces ready for multinational corporations.
It's just the ultimate recycling project. I was actually trying to think of an analogy for this for the listener, and it's imagine buying a massive state-of-the-art smart mansion that's completely fully furnished instead of clearing a dirt lot to build from scratch.
That's a great way to put it.
You already have the high-capacity power grid, you have the underground road networks, the anchor attractions, and crucially, a dedicated metro station directly connected to the rest of the city.
And the environmental impact of that choice is just profound.
Break that down for us.
So when we talk about sustainability, the focus is almost always on what we call operational carbon.
Meaning how much electricity a building uses.
Right. How much power or water a building consumes once people are actually inside working or living there. But embodied carbon, that's a whole different beast.
Embodied carbon.
Yeah. That is the emissions generated by manufacturing steel, pouring concrete, transporting all those heavy materials to a site. It's a massive driver of global emissions. I mean, concrete production alone is responsible for something like 8% of the world's total carbon footprint.
Wow, 8% just from making concrete.
Exactly.
So by retaining 80% of the Expo site, they are essentially bypassing the absolute heaviest, dirtiest phase of city building.
Precisely. The concrete is already poured. The underground utility networks are already functioning. The structural steel is perfectly in place.
The carbon debt has already been paid.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
The debt was paid by the Expo. Now, they get to build an entire city on top of that sunken environmental cost, which gives them an incredible head start on the sustainability goals outlined in the 2040 master plan.
And looking at this 2040 plan in our sources, it is incredibly ambitious.
It has to be.
The population of Dubai is projected to spike dramatically in the coming years, and the city needs to figure out where to put everyone without, turning into an unlivable, congested sprawl.
Right.
So the master plan officially designates Expo City as one of the key urban centers designed to absorb this growth. But they want to do it while doubling green and leisure areas. They want to create sustainable mobility networks that don't rely on cars and drastically improve resource efficiency.
Which means Expo City is the physical test bed.
The proving ground.
Yeah. If Dubai wants to prove to the world that it can build highly dense, hyper-efficient green urban centers in a desert climate, this 3.5 square kilometer patch of land has to be the proof of concept.
But here's the friction. This is what I was thinking about while reading through the economic brochures.
Okay, what is it?
You have this beautifully recycled megasite. You have a smart grid, some truly amazing architecture, but buildings don't automatically create an economy.
No, they certainly do not.
You can't just build a smart neighborhood and assume 40,000 professionals are going to organically pack up and move their global headquarters there. If you want people to show up on a Tuesday morning, you have to engineer the tax code just as aggressively as you engineered the physical buildings.
And that brings us directly to the D33 agenda.
Right.
The D33 is a government directive to double the size of Dubai's economy by the year 2033.
Which is an incredibly aggressive 10-year sprint.
Very aggressive. To hit those numbers, you have to attract immense foreign direct investment. You need to lure the biggest, most profitable companies in the world away from other global hubs like Singapore or London.
And the primary mechanism for doing that at Expo City is its official designation as a free zone.
Exactly.
Now, for anyone listening who might not be totally familiar with the mechanics of international business in the UAE, a free zone is a monumental lever.
It changes the entire equation.
Because if I'm, say, a tech CEO in London or maybe a logistics director in Tokyo, trying to set up a massive operation in a new country usually involves a huge maze of local ownership laws. You have heavy corporate taxes and strict restrictions on moving your money around.
And the free zone strips all of that away.
Right. The sources highlight that Expo City offers 100% foreign ownership.
Meaning you don't need a local partner to hold a majority stake in your own company. That was historically a significant barrier to entry in the broader Middle East region.
You also get full profit repatriation. Can you break down why that specific term is the holy grail for a multinational corporation?
Yeah, profit repatriation is huge. It means that if your company generates $100 million in profit within the Expo City free zone, you can transfer that capital directly back to your home country.
Without penalties?
Right? You can distribute it to your international shareholders without the host country taking a massive cut or placing arbitrary limits on that capital flight. It guarantees total liquidity.
Wow, okay.
Combine that with massive corporate tax advantages and multi-year licensing that covers over 2,000 different business activities, and you've effectively removed the administrative friction of global expansion.
But the master plan reveals they aren't just opening the floodgates to any random business that wants a tax break. They are heavily curating this ecosystem.
Very heavily.
In partnership with the UAE Ministry of Economy and Tourism, Expo City Dubai is officially designated as the UAE's first green innovation district.
And this is where the strategy gets incredibly targeted. They are actively courting companies in renewables, circular economy tech, urban farming, green mobility.
See, I have to push back here for a second.
Right.
Because when I read Green Innovation District in these brochures, my alarm bells start ringing immediately.
Because of greenwashing?
Exactly. It sounds like a slick marketing buzzword. I mean, every new corporate development claims to be green these days. If I'm a giant, heavily polluting logistics conglomerate, can I just move my accounting department to Expo City, put a few recycling bins in the break room, print my annual report on bamboo paper, and claim the massive tax benefits of a quote-unquote green innovator? Like, how do they actually enforce this, or is it just corporate greenwashing?
It is the exact right question to ask. We should absolutely always apply skepticism to sustainability marketing.
Yeah.
But if you dig into the regulatory framework driving this specific free zone, there are actual teeth to the designation.
Okay, what kind of teeth?
Well, first, the infrastructure demands compliance from the moment you move in. For instance, the master plan is pre-certified platinum and the Italy Cities and Communities standard.
Which is a huge deal in architecture.
It's the highest benchmark. The individual buildings are designed to use roughly 30% less energy and 50% less water than typical international baselines.
Let's actually talk about the mechanisms behind that, because 50% less water in a desert environment is a massive claim to make.
It's enormous.
They aren't just slapping low-flow shower heads on the executive bathrooms to get these LE Platinum ratings. How are they mechanically achieving those numbers?
They are utilizing fully integrated district-wide systems.
So not just building by building.
Right. Instead of each building managing its own utility draw in total isolation, the city operates on a massive smart grid. For water, they are aggressively deploying dual plumbing networks.
What does that mean?
It means they capture gray water, which is the lightly used water from sinks and showers, treat it on site, and recycle it directly into the irrigation systems for the urban landscaping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they are using highly advanced condensation capture from the massive cooling systems.
So they pull water right out of the air conditioning.
Exactly. And for energy, it's a mix of integrated solar facades and hyper-efficient district cooling plants. Yeah, instead of every building having its own energy-hungry AC unit on the roof, a central plant pipes chilled water directly to the buildings. Combine that with building management systems that use AI to optimize lighting and temperature based on real-time occupancy, and the savings are massive.
Okay, so the physical buildings are inherently green. I get that. But what about the companies themselves? How do you prevent a highly polluting company from just occupying a very green building?
That is where the green license comes in.
The green license.
Yes. This is a pioneering regulatory tool specifically developed for this zone. To get this license, and, crucially, the associated tax and ownership benefits, a business must integrate sustainability into its core operational model.
So the bamboo paper trick won't work.
Not even close. It's not about the paper and the printer. It's about proving a clear, measurable path to decarbonization. They're required to implement advanced waste management protocols that align with circular economy principles.
Meaning their waste output has to be tracked, diverted from landfills, and fed back into supply chains as raw materials.
Yes, exactly. They have to measure and rigorously report on their energy and water footprint. It's a regulatory way of sorting the genuinely committed innovators from the tourists.
And the market is validating this approach, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
The sources confirm that major anchor tenants are already operating there. We're talking about DP World, the Emirates Group, Siemens Energy, Terminus Group.
Heavy hitters.
Massive global entities. And they are choosing this specific free zone because the aggressive environmental mandates of the district actually help them meet their own internal global ESG targets.
Right. It's a win-win for their corporate reporting.
Exactly.
So we have the foundation, the brilliantly recycled Expo infrastructure. We have the economic engine, a free zone heavily incentivizing green tech to meet the D33 agenda. Now, let's pivot and look at the human element.
The residents.
Yeah. You have 40,000 professionals and their families coming to work here. Where are they going to live? Because the master plan outlines a residential capacity of 35,000 people. How do you design a new city from scratch for that many people?
You apply the core principles of the 15-minute city, but you execute it with a level of spatial curation that most organically grown cities can honestly only dream of.
Now, I read 15-minute city in the documents, and I'll admit it's another one of those phrases that gets thrown around a lot in urban planning circles.
It's definitely a trendy buzzword right now.
Right. It usually just means a developer put a grocery store on the ground floor of an apartment complex and called it a day.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
But looking at the geographic layout here in the blueprints, they are taking the concept to an almost forensic level.
They are.
The entire 3.5 square kilometers is broken down into a tight grid of 5 distinct, highly specialized districts. If you are looking at the blueprints with us right now, the contrast between these zones is really stark.
Walk us through the geography. How does the density shift as you move through the city?
Let's start right at the core. You arrive by the metro station, and you step out into Expo downtown.
The heart of it.
This is your high-density, high-energy, vertical urban center. It extends from the Al Waz Law Plaza, which they've beautifully maintained as a cultural garden under that massive trellis, all the way down to the Terra Pavilion.
Right.
The skyline here is totally dominated by the Terra Living residential complexes and the Terra Tower, which is going to be the tallest structure in Expo City. It's this massive mixed-use hospitality and office hub.
Very vertical.
Yeah. If you live here, you are stepping out of your elevator directly into a bustling plaza with immediate access to mass transit.
It's totally designed to maximize spontaneous interaction. High density combined with mixed-use spaces prevents the area from feeling sterile. It acts as the engine room of the city's social life.
Right next door, physically interwoven with the downtown, is Expo Business.
Which is fascinating in its own right.
Totally. This isn't your traditional isolated corporate park out by a highway. This is where DP World is building their huge new global headquarters. But they've intentionally mixed the commercial real estate with massive cultural anchors. It features the Connect Conference Center, the Firdaus Studio, and a brand new 1,500-seat theater right alongside an art plaza.
And that integration is absolutely vital. The fatal flaw of 20th century urban planning was zoning business districts strictly for commercial use.
Right, keeping everything separate.
Yeah, and you end up with a financial district that is bustling at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, but becomes an absolute desolate ghost town by 7 p.m. on a Friday.
Nobody wants to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By anchoring the business district with a major theater and an art plaza, you guarantee foot traffic, you ensure restaurant viability, and you maintain social energy long after the corporate offices close. You keep the district alive.
Okay, so moving south from that dense, busy core, the landscape opens up dramatically. We hit Expo Fields.
The green space?
Yeah, the master plan literally labels this the, quote, blueprint for healthy living. This is the community infrastructure zone. You have schools, massive sports fields, clubhouses, and retail.
Lots of open air.
But the anchor here, and this honestly initially confused me, is the brand new Expo City Arena. It's an open-air concert and festival venue with a capacity of 30,000 people.
Right.
I saw that on the map and thought, why put a massive, incredibly loud arena right in the middle of the healthy living district?
It comes back to redefining what healthy living actually means in a modern urban context.
Tell me more.
It isn't just about giving people a jogging track. It's about community cohesion, mental health, and reducing the friction in access to entertainment. Think about it. If you have to spend an hour navigating horrible traffic to get clear across the Emirate to see a concert, that isolates you.
It's exhausting.
Exactly. Integrating a 30,000-seat arena within a 15-minute walk of residential zones turns major cultural events into local neighborhood activities. It completely decentralizes entertainment.
That makes a lot of sense when you frame it that way. Now, for the people who want that access but maybe don't want to live right next to a 30,000-seat arena on a Friday night, you head north to Expo Hills.
The acoustic buffer zone.
Yes. This drops the density down significantly. It's a much quieter residential community. And the architectural centerpiece here is the Expo Hills Park, which is designed around a wadi.
A wadi, yes.
For those who might not know, a wadi is a natural, dry riverbed in the region that channels water during heavy rains. They've used this organic, undulating topography to create these beautiful landscape gardens and open spaces.
The wadi serves a brilliant dual purpose here.
What's the second purpose?
Visually and recreationally, it grounds the modern architecture and the ancient natural heritage of the region, but functionally, those sweeping, recessed earthworks act as acoustic buffers.
To block the arena noise.
Right. They naturally absorb and deflect urban noise, providing a very real physical sensory break from the high-density downtown just a few blocks away.
Which perfectly transitions to the 5th District, and honestly, this is the one that completely blew my mind when I was reading the master plan.
Expo Valley.
Expo Valley. This is a gated community of smart, sustainable villas and townhouses overlooking a nature sanctuary and a lake. But the master plan specifically details that the entire valley is engineered using a, quote, folded earth topography.
The microclimate engineering. This is where the sheer ambition of the project really shines.
It is absolute biomimicry. When I was trying to visualize folded earth for you guys, I thought about a garden hose.
Okay, a garden hose.
Yeah. If you have water flowing out of a hose and you pinch the tip with your thumb, the water speeds up and shoots out much faster, right?
Right.
They're doing that with the dirt, but for wind.
Yes.
By physically altering the shape of the land, creating these specific strategic valleys and undulating hills, they are engineering a way to actively fight the desert climate. The topography forces the prevailing winds to compress, eat up, and channel directly through the residential streets, creating a continuous passive cooling breeze.
It is the literal definition of natural air conditioning.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just the wind.
What else does it do?
Those earth folds are precisely calculated by software to cast specific shadows over pedestrian walkways during the absolute hottest parts of the day.
Wow.
The mounds of earth physically disrupt and block incoming dust from the surrounding desert. They dampen mechanical noise.
That's so smart.
Instead of just flattening a piece of land, laying down an asphalt grid, and trying to fight the 110-degree heat by pumping the buildings full of energy-intensive mechanical air conditioning, they are using the physical geometry of the earth itself to modify the environment.
It's literally using dirt as a climate control system. And all of this, the folded earth, the acoustic wadis, the dense downtown, is tied together by a strict adherence to the Dubai Universal Design Code.
A crucial point.
This brings us back to the reality of a 15-minute city. If the goal is that everyone can access work, school, and groceries within a 15-minute walk or bike ride, the actual physical pathways have to be flawless.
Flawless and universally accessible. The term 15-minute city completely fails if it only works for an able-bodied 25-year-old on a bicycle. The Dubai Universal Design Code mandates that the entire sensory environment is accessible.
Sensory environment, meaning not just wheelchairs.
Exactly. We're talking about extensive tactile paving for the visually impaired, seamless mobility ramps on every corner, and highly specific acoustic wayfinding.
Wait, acoustic wayfinding?
Yeah, using sound-absorbing materials in certain areas and reflective surfaces in others to actually help people navigate by audio cues. The city is designed to be totally legible to everyone, regardless of physical or sensory ability.
It's an incredibly empathetic approach to hard infrastructure, and you can clearly see why they view this 3.5 square kilometers as a global testbed.
Definitely.
Because if you can prove that folded earth topography, autonomous shuttles, and strict green mandates actually work at scale for 35,000 real residents, that model is instantly exportable to any city on Earth facing extreme climate challenges.
But we have to zoom out again.
Let's do it.
Because everything we've just discussed, the free zone, the beautifully curated residential districts, the microclimate engineering, that is all designed for the people who will live and work there permanently.
Right.
But Expo City was born to host the world. And its role as a global crossroads is about to scale up to a level that is honestly difficult to comprehend.
Which brings us to the megalith in the room. The expansion of the DEC, the Dubai Exhibition Center.
Yes.
The numbers in these government press releases are staggering. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum recently approved a master plan to expand the DEC with a budget of 10 billion dirhams.
Massive.
That is roughly 2.72 billion US dollars injected into a single physical facility.
This is the D33 economic agenda flexing its muscles. They are building the engine that will pull the rest of the economy forward.
So the expansion is rolling out in 3 phases. Phase 1, finishing in 2026, pushes the DEC to 140,000 square meters.
Which is already huge.
Right. Phase 2 hits in 2028, taking it to 160,000 square meters and building out the heavy infrastructure, like the massive road networks and massive multi-story parking hubs.
And then the final phase.
Yes, the final form, Phase 3 in 2031. This is what totally stopped me in my tracks while reading the sources.
The scale is unprecedented for the region.
By 2031, the Dubai Exhibition Center will boast 180,000 square meters of indoor exhibition space. It will house 26 distinct halls, over 300 retail outlets, commercial offices, and industrial-scale kitchens.
It's a small city indoors.
But here is the stat that completely broke my brain. Those 26 exhibition halls will span 1.2 kilometers in length, entirely on a single level.
It is a massive horizontal footprint.
1.2 kilometers. To put that in perspective for you, that is nearly the length of the Golden Gate Bridge, enclosed in continuous air-conditioned event space.
Yeah, try walking that in a day.
Exactly. And I have to ask you, looking at this from an urban planner's perspective, well, why? In Dubai, a city that is globally famous for the Burj Khalifa, a city famous for pioneering vertical architecture and pushing skyscrapers to their absolute limits, why would you take up over a kilometer of highly valuable premium real estate on a single flat level? Why not build a spectacular multi-story vertical exhibition tower?
It's a really brilliant question, and the answer is entirely rooted in the brutal, unforgiving logistics of the IC industry.
Being meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions.
Correct. The global events industry operates on a massive physical scale.
How massive?
When you are hosting an international aerospace convention, or a heavy construction machinery expo, or a global marine and yacht show, you are not just setting up folding tables and whiteboards.
Right, you're not just bringing laptops.
Exactly. You are bringing massive, multi-ton objects indoors. Exhibitors are constructing intricate three-story structural booths inside the halls. You have fleets of forklifts, towering cranes, and massive articulated lorries driving directly onto the exhibition floor to unload.
Oh, I see. You can't exactly fit a bulldozer or an airplane fuselage into a passenger elevator no matter how big you build the tower.
Exactly. Verticality is the absolute enemy of heavy logistics. You need structural load-bearing floors that sit directly on the bedrock to handle the sheer weight of industrial equipment.
That makes total sense.
Furthermore, consider the crowd dynamics. At a mega event, you are managing the foot traffic of tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, of people simultaneously.
Just a sea of people.
Yeah. If you try to force 50,000 people to change floors using escalators and elevators at the end of a keynote speech, you create dangerous, massive bottlenecks. A single-level 1.2-kilometer layout allows event organizers to physically merge halls by removing modular walls, opening up vast, contiguous spaces where freight and massive crowds can move fluidly and safely without vertical choke points.
So the horizontal sprawl isn't a lack of imagination. It is a highly optimized machine for moving heavy freight and massive crowds.
Precisely.
And when you look at the geographic placement of this 1.2-kilometer machine, the strategy becomes incredibly clear. It sits directly adjacent to a dedicated metro line, but far more importantly, it neighbors Al Maktoum International Airport.
Which, according to the overarching master plans we have here, is slated to become the largest airport in the world once fully operational.
It's also deeply integrated into the dedicated logistics corridor that feeds straight into Jebel Ali Port, which is one of the largest man-made harbors on the planet.
Geography is destiny in global trade. The supply chain integration here is almost frictionless.
Paint that picture for us.
Okay, so if you are a multinational corporation exhibiting your new industrial technology, you can unload a massive shipping container at Jebel Ali Port, or land a specialized cargo plane at Al Maktoum Airport, and transport that heavy freight directly onto the floor of the largest purpose-built exhibition center in the region in a matter of minutes.
The logistics are just a straight line.
The logistical overhead is slashed to almost zero. It's incredibly attractive to businesses.
And this brings us right back to that ticking clock we started with, the D33 agenda. Halal Saeed Al-Mari, the Director General of the Dubai World Trade Center Authority, is quoted in the sources explicitly stating their goal. They're aiming to triple the economic contribution of the MIC sector.
Triple it.
Yeah, they want to surge from 18 billion dirhams to 54 billion dirhams annually by 2033.
And to do that, they're projecting a doubling of the major global events the city hosts, targeting over 600 events a year by the end of the D33 timeline.
That is nearly 2 major international events every single day of the year.
And that, ultimately, is the masterstroke of how you permanently solve the ghost town problem of the mega event. You don't just build a stadium for a 6-month party, pat yourself on the back, and hope tourists keep showing up to take pictures of the architecture.
Right, because they won't.
Exactly. You build a perpetual, high-capacity economic engine. The massive expansion of the Dubai Exhibition Center isn't just a nice amenity added onto Expo City for convenience. It is the beating heart of the entire project.
It's what pays for everything else.
It pumps international capital, high-value business tourism, and foreign direct investment into the emirate 365 days a year. It takes the one-time, massive economic spike of the 2020 World Expo and structurally converts it into a permanent baseline driver of the economy.
It really is a phenomenal feat of long-term planning. They captured the world's attention with the Expo, they built the foundational infrastructure, and they immediately pivoted that infrastructure into a fortress of global trade and sustainable living.
Incredible transformation.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. We've seen how keeping 80% of the original pavilions drastically cuts carbon emissions. We dissected the financial gravity of the free zone and the strict decarbonization mandates of the Green Innovation District.
The teeth of the regulations.
Right. We mapped out the psychology of the 15-minute city from the dense downtown core to the brilliant biomimicry of the folded earth in Expo Valley. And we unpacked the logistical genius behind the 1.2-kilometer, 10 billion dirham exhibition center.
It truly is a masterclass in treating a city not as a random collection of buildings, but as a highly integrated system where every piece serves the broader goals of the Dubai 2040 and D33 agendas.
But as we wrap up, I want to leave you with something to chew on. We've looked at all the metrics, the blueprints, and the economic forecasts. But when you look at the totality of this project, What is the profound underlying question that these brochures don't explicitly ask, but that we should be thinking about?
If you connect all the dots we've discussed today, the curated districts, the enforced green mandates, the massive exhibition engine, the acoustic wadis, it raises a really provocative question about the future of human habitation.
What's the question?
Historically, cities have been messy. They grow organically, haphazardly over centuries, dealing with legacy infrastructure and endless bureaucratic friction.
Yeah, cities are usually pretty chaotic.
But if Expo City Dubai successfully proves that a highly engineered, master-planned economic free zone can offer a demonstrably greener, more efficient, and structurally better quality of life, well, will the future of urban living globally begin to shift?
That is fascinating.
Will we see a move away from organic, sprawling municipalities and a move toward curated, hyper-optimized corporate mega-campuses? What does it mean for society when your neighborhood, your daily commute, and your entire city is fundamentally a perfectly engineered economic product?
Wow. The shift from organic cities to engineered cities, that is a massive paradigm shift. When you look at the landscape of global city building right now, it usually feels like we are just guessing at solutions. But Expo City is drawing a very deliberate, highly calculated line into the future. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. There's an endless amount of detail in these master plans to explore, so keep questioning the world around you, keep diving into the blueprints of the future, and we'll catch you on the next one.